Meet, welcome back to another Squirrely Guide video. Today we're going to talk about the new Abyss floors. So I'm going to do multiple videos on this for one reason. These new floors are freaking hard. The first 100 floors of Abyss, I basically just used whoever I had geared except for like 90 and 100. These fights I had to like re-gear heroes, use heroes that I have never used before. The mechanics are so specific and there's like no room for error, so these fights are extremely hard. So unlike my previous Abyss guide videos, I'm going to show you almost complete runs of each of these because I think you're going to need as much information as possible to beat these floors. And unfortunately, I'm using some limited heroes, but honestly, it's so hard without them. If you don't have some of these heroes, I'm sure a few weeks from now, people will start experimenting and come up with really unique comps. But as of right now, I strongly feel these are the easiest ways to clear it because these bosses are super, super hard. These bosses are no joke. This is true endgame PvE content. So with that kind of intro and disclaimer out of the way, let's get started with this nightmare, especially floor 102. This floor is going to give me nightmares for the rest of my life. Alright, so floor 101. One unique thing about the Abyss floors above 100 is that the first waves kind of matter. Like for the previous 100 floors, basically the first waves didn't matter, and your only goal was to kind of farm up souls, and it was usually pretty easy. But in this case, you're kind of incentivized to clear this wave fast, because if you look at it, if this water-powered Energia, however you say it, gets Berserk at the end of the 7th turn, you lose 80 souls, which is basically all your souls, and then Furious summons elite soldiers at the start of the next battle. So you really, really want to clear this thing within 7 waves, which is not hard if you have this team. Basically, you just poison this thing over and over, and should be pretty straightforward from there. So let's move on to the next wave. Alright, so floor 101. This is the team I recommend, and if you have this team, the difficulty is pretty low, maybe a 3 out of 10. No matter what, you're going to Curious Cheese it. The difficulty will go up for each of these heroes you don't have. Just try and replace them with something that has a similar theme. But honestly, these heroes are kind of hard to replace. Dizzy's great for damage mitigation and also extending the poisons. Let's go over his abilities real quick. So one thing to note, he's immune to HP percent move, so don't bring DDJ. At the start of the match, he's going to summon these 3 mobs. They're pretty strong. If you didn't kill the previous boss in less than 7 turns, they're going to be elite mobs, much stronger. They do extra damage against non-Earth units, but not anything to worry about. This thing, watch out for. Every 3 turns, he can cast this, and it'll buff up the team, but more importantly, it dispels all debuffs. So if you poison right before he does this, it's gonna waste it. This move you don't have to worry about, doesn't do anything, and this move you don't really have to worry about either. The only thing that's scary is if he does it when they have skill nullifier, they're gonna get increased attack greater in an extra turn, and they might wipe you, so be very careful for that. The main thing that you have to worry about is his forward march ability. Let's read this one carefully. If you attack him with an AoE attack when he's buffed, he's going to counterattack you for critical hit. But this doesn't happen if he has skill nullifier, but something to watch out for. Anytime he goes below 70 or 40%, he'll summon 2 patrollers and full cleanse the whole team, and then grant everyone a 3-turn skill nullifier that cannot be dispelled. If an ally who is granted skill nullifier is attacked by a non-AoE attack, then they all get a 50% CR push and they're going to do bad things to you. So hit them with AoE attacks when they have skill nullifier. That's why Dizzy is so great. If an ally who is granted skill nullifier attacks, it dispels 2 buffs and has a 30% defense pen, basically meaning that they hit harder. So the main thing you have to worry about is these full cleanses. Other than the full cleanses, it's pretty easy. You just Curious Cheese this boss, as I'm going to show you in a second here. Alright, so since these fights are much harder than the previous Abyss ones, I'm just going to show you guys the entire fights. Oh, Bad RNG there already. I only landed 2 out of the 3 poisons. But that's okay. So what you want to do here is basically just lock down their team and be very careful about Furious removing your debuffs. As long as he doesn't remove them too many times, you should be okay. His removals are the dangerous phases. You really want Dizzy to have her S3 available every time he full cleanses everyone, because if these guys don't have those weaken attack buffs, it gets pretty scary real fast. I don't think I need to burn that, so we'll just extend normally, and we do land. We'll keep hitting Furious. There we go. Just keep putting damage into him. Alright. And Dizzy's great here because she has all AoE attacks and she can also continue stunning them for even more damage mitigation. Now, I actually don't like this run a whole lot because the 3 poisons didn't stick, which is a huge amount of damage I'm losing here. But we'll make it work. So he attacked twice, and it's a 3-turn cooldown. So I think I have 1 more turn before he uses his morale boost. So let's put on another layer of poisons. We can even just Archie here for even more damage. Don't be cheap with your Archies, it does a lot of damage. 51,000 there. Now we can boost up again. Tamissary is just so powerful. And he has a lot of poisons on now, 5 poisons. So he still didn't remove it. And we're not going to use the S2 yet. And here we go. Here comes the removal. And now they're going to do a lot of damage. Okay. My Dizzy has her move available. Unfortunately, Sari only has single target attack, so this is going to boost up Furious a little bit. Okay, let's try and get as many stacks of the skill nullifier off as possible and refresh these damage mitigating debuffs. Ooh, actually that was bad. I think Furious is actually about to use his morale boost and remove all of this. But that's okay, because the skill nullifier's off now, so no matter what, I think I had to burn there. We'll just regular attack him here. Yep, there's the morale boost. So he's going to shake off all those debuffs. 1 more turn for Isseria to reset Tama, so I think we'll be okay. Hopefully we land some stuns here. That would be golden. Alright, so let's just try and land some stuns. We get 1. That's big. And let's put those poisons back up. Again, we only get 2. But we will make it work. Let's reset Tama. And we'll just keep attacking Furious. So now he's under 40%, so he might do it again. If you do enough damage to him, you could actually skip one of those phases. He got an extra turn there. Now we can heal everyone up again. So we'll see. We'll see if we skip that 40% phase or if he puts up another skill nullifier. I'm actually a little bit scared here. So I'm just going to attack him. Yep, he had it. So now the skill nullifiers are back. And this is going to be scary here. We got to survive this onslaught, and then we'll be fine. There's really no point to use the S3 here. Nice. We get another layer of the skill nullifier off. Nice. The skill nullifiers are off now, so they should do a lot less damage. We'll try and dispel some of these buffs. We get 1. You'll notice I used an AoE attack there when he was buffed, so now he's doing big damage. Kyrus is actually in big trouble here, so she might die, but we should be okay. Come on. Alright, so let's just do this and try and push them back. So that was a little bit scary. This is why you don't want to AoE attack when Furious is buffed, because he'll do that counter thing. But I don't really care if Dizzy dies at this point. I just want to push them back. So Dizzy's going to die here. No big deal. Now let's remove this. And once we get those poisons back up, we should be fine unless this mob goes on Kyrus here because he got pushed up. Don't go on Kyrus. Alright, we're fine now. So we'll buff this. We'll put poisons up on Furious. We're going to boost up. We are going to just throw an Archie out here. So even with this pretty bad RNG, never landed 3 poisons, still pretty good run. So that's floor 101. I highly recommend Kyrus Cheese. If you don't Kyrus Cheese, it'll probably be a lot harder. You'll notice my Kyrus was only level 50. So this is the easiest way to beat this boss. And this was kind of a sloppy one because Dizzy died because I didn't dispel Furious's buffs. And you could see it still worked out just fine. Alright guys, welcome to Hell. Floor 102 is quite possibly the most frustrating floor of Abyss released. I mean, I don't know what the higher floors are, but if 102 is this hard, I don't even want to know what 110 is. So, like the last fight, the first phase actually matters. The most important thing to know from this fight is this part. Every 5th time Mascot Hazel suffers a single attack, Ricorous gives his entire team skill nullifier, but he also gives your entire team skill nullifier. You're probably going to have to 4 DPS this boss, unless you have a KD's build. If you have a KD's build, you can probably get away with tanking it, but I didn't. So what you have to do is you have to get through this first phase with skill nullifier on your entire team. Otherwise, Celine is going to destroy you in the next phase. Other than that, the only thing you really have to watch out for is keep this Watcher Gigantus constantly disabled. Otherwise, if he gets his 3 skill ups and does his S3, he is going to one-shot you. But other than that, you just use Kyrus and just slowly nuke Captain Ricorous down. This phase is not that hard. So let's move on to the next phase. The most key part about this phase is kill Captain Ricorous and make sure that when he's dead, you have skill nullifier up on your entire team or you're screwed. Alright, now let's cover the actual boss. Celine, this is the most troll boss I've ever seen in Abyss. So, let's see where the move is. This is very important. So she has 3 battle stances indicated by this number here, so pay very close attention to this. This is why Soul Weavers are not really great here. Maybe you could use a Katie's, but every other Soul Weaver, every single time you use a non-attack skill, Celine uses Blink, and it hits hard. Depending on her stance, it tells you who it's going to attack. So, stance 1, it attacks the person on your team with the highest attack. Stance 2, it'll attack someone at random. And stance 3, it'll attack the person on your team with the most maximum HP. So, really, if you're going to try and tank this, ideally you want her to stay at battle stance 3 so that you can bait her into going on your knight or your soul weaver or whatever. This blink also decreases combat readiness by 100% while also giving her a 20 CR push, and Aureus doesn't do anything against it. This move is redonkulous. The first time I tried to use like FCC and Tamarin, she destroyed my entire team in 1 second. So don't bring people with non-attack skills. On top of that, her regular attack can stun, and if she crits, she steals your souls and dispels all buffs, which is nonsense. She gets stackable attack, increased attack when attacking. If you're not debuffed, she's going to crit you, and she does a ton of damage against non-fire units. So you want to bring as many fire units as possible, because I brought a Ruel, and Celine basically one-shotted her. It was ridiculous. The other thing to pay attention to is this. When she goes below 40% health, you can kill these things, but it's a waste of time. When she goes below 40% health and you hit her, oh my god, she goes berserk. All these things get pushed up to the front, and every time they use an ability, she uses her S3. So she's going to destroy, like, the first time I saw that, she demolished my entire team of 4 people in one turn. It is absolutely nonsense. In addition, she gets these buffs, so she starts healing. I had multiple runs where I lost with her having like 100 life. It was crazy. And yeah, this boss is just completely troll. By the way, her S3 also removes all debuffs. So now let's go over the team to beat her. You'll notice I have 3 level 50s. This is the kind of thing where gear doesn't even matter. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, gear matters, but you need to have the right squad. Other Abyss floors, you can use suboptimal squads, but as long as you have really crazy gear, you could still probably make it work. Here, I could not make it work with my core heroes, so my Litica and Tenebria are not moled at all. My Tenebria is 3-star awakened, my Litica is 3-star awakened, so I have 3 level 50s here, but they do have good gear. I had to swap out a lot of gear. You need minimum like 120 effectiveness, I think. Otherwise, I was getting bad luck, because I did a lot of runs, and these people resist everything. So we're going to go to an actual run while I talk about this more. So the goal here is to just basically Kyrus cheese it. You just get as many poisons on Selene as possible. And there's so much RNG in this fight that is unbearable, because there were many runs where I get to this point and then Kyrus lands 0 poisons or 1 poison. Basically, you lose. You're also praying that Selene doesn't S3 or blink the wrong person, because if you do, you lose. Pretty much, it's like an RNG fest where 99% of the outcomes are you lose. This fight was a nightmare, easily a 10 out of 10 difficulty for me, especially because I didn't have these heroes like 6-starred. Definitely a really hard fight. The other thing to note is you want to be very careful about triggering that 40% thing, because like I said, you could see it in this video, when it gets there, she takes multiple turns and wipes out your entire team. Now, in this run, it was dangerous. I had to end it with an Archie. The cleaner run is if you get good poison stacks, if you don't attack her, it won't proc, I'm pretty sure. So if you just let the poisons kill her, she won't get into that phase. But it's really hard. Basically, you have to land 3 poisons every single time, and she can't resist your extension. If she resists anything, it's not viable, and you're just going to have to pray you get her low enough to finish her off with Archie. If you Archie her to below 40%, it still triggers it, because I tried that. So don't get her to like 41%, try to Archie her and think it won't proc. It will proc, and it will mess you up. So that's pretty much the strategy for this fight. Kyrus is key. Just get as many poisons on her as possible. Lock down these 2 units. They can put immunity and cleanse debuffs on Selene. So provoke them. If you have to eat Selene counter S3, do it. Provoke them, stun them, sleep them, do whatever you have to do to keep them out of play. Push their CR back. That's why Litica is so good here. And just get on your knees and pray, because you're going to need God's intervention to beat this hellish woman. So that's about it for Abyss 102. I'm not ashamed to admit that it took me close to 3 hours to beat this stupid boss. I never thought that would happen. I consider myself a very endgame player, but this thing really kicked my ass. So let's move on. Alright, so floor 103. After the nightmare of floor 102, I actually one-shotted this one. This one is way, way easier than the last one. I'd say this one's difficulty is like, let's give it a 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10. So let's talk about this first wave real quick. So it's different from the other ones in the aspect that the other ones, the first wave had some impact on the actual boss. This one doesn't. You just have to clear it. It's hard to gather up souls, though, because they remove souls with attacks. So just clear it as quickly as possible. Dizzy is actually really good for this. Arbiter is really good for this. Regular Vildred is good for this. Basically, you just want to bring a lot of AoE damage, because the thing about these mice is that they keep reviving each other. So if you don't have enough damage, they'll just keep coming back over and over and over. If you single attack them, it gives them a big CR push, so you don't really want to use single attacks. S10A's S1 hits 2 targets, Vildred's hits 2 targets. They're not considered single attacks, even though they don't fully look like full team AoE attacks. So basically, this fight is pretty straightforward. If you can't do it, it's probably just like a DPS check for you, because honestly, you don't have to do anything. Just nuke all these rats down. If you're finding that they just keep coming back, like here, watch, I'll hit one and it'll get CR pushed. They all get pushed, so you don't want to do single attacks. Bring as much AoE damage as possible. Let's move on. Alright, let's talk about this phase of the fight. So the reason I brought these heroes is because Arbiter and Spectre do a lot of damage in the first wave. They're also good against these bosses. One very important thing to note is that these bosses are vulnerable to DDJ, so put your strongest DPS on DDJ. My Arbiter's on it. Other than that, there's a Sid here, but the Sid is so weak I barely even know what he does. When he's 30%, he goes into the second phase, and he has 2 personality. He switches between Blaze Dingo and regular Dingo. Basically, if you debuff him, he takes less damage, up to 6 debuffs. But I found that even when he's debuffed, he takes enough damage. If you buff your own team, though, they get a 15% CR push, so you don't really want to buff your own team. This move, he'll heal all his allies and remove souls. He doesn't use it all that often. This move, he just kind of stabs you, doesn't do a whole lot. This is what he uses when he gets to under 30%, or I assume when he gets to 4 turns. So basically the strategy in the beginning is just to blow up Sid. And then in the second phase, when he turns into regular Dingo, you need to put debuffs on him or you can't kill him. Alright, so let's try this run here so I can show you that the Sid is really not much of a problem. My Dizzy is actually on Yella's violin right now, so the second phase can be pretty tough actually, but this first phase is a joke. I don't actually really understand this because it says he takes less damage if he's debuffed when attacked, but I'm actually not noticing that. He seems to take plenty of damage while debuffed. Yeah, 10,000, so seems fine to me, so I'm not even really sure what that means. On the bad personality, it makes a lot more sense because he does take a lot more, well, you basically need to debuff him or you can't hurt him at all. But in this phase, it seems to imply that if he's debuffed, he's going to take a lot less damage, but it doesn't seem to be true. Now, as you can see, nothing's really happening here. The 2 of them are barely doing any damage, and that's what I found in this phase. It's really not that big of a deal, and they're susceptible to all debuffs, so yeah, very easy. Like, he's hitting me for less than 1,000 damage with the debuffs. Alright, so Sid should go down right here, and Sid is already dead. So I'm not going to buff here, because buffing is dangerous against him. Okay. And he is susceptible to pushback. One weird thing that I noticed, though, was that he's able to hit my S10A, which I thought was not supposed to be possible. Okay. So let's, you know what, let's go ahead and debuff him again. And then I'm going to just burn with S10A to get him to the next phase so he doesn't use Sacred Power twice. It's a lot easier if you get him under 30% in the first go. Okay, we'll just heal that up, and then we'll just burn S10A to finish it out. He stole 20 souls from me there. Okay. Now let's do a little bit of burning. Got a poison up. Okay, hopefully this is enough. Doesn't look like it. Let's push him back. Nice. Get even more damage on him. You know what, we'll go ahead and S3 here. Try and get as much damage on him as possible for that sacred power. I don't think I need to burn there. Okay. And hopefully the poisons take him under. I think we got him under. So now he's going to do this. And this phase can be hard, but it's all RNG. If he doesn't stun Tama, it's not that bad. He has a lot of effect resist, though, which makes this kind of difficult. Because I'm trying to strip him right now, but it's just not working. My Sierra Ren is plus 24, I believe. Oh, he stunned my whole team. And the Wondrous Potion Vial gets the wrong person, so actually, I might be in trouble here. Alright, good, he kills Arbiter. Don't stun Tama. Nice. Okay, so now let's get some debuffs on. So this is going to hit him for 1 damage, if you watch here. Yep, 11 damage. And you'll see the switch to Split Personality Evil. It greatly decreases damage suffered when attacked. Up to 6 debuffs, it will increase the amount of damage. So the more debuffs you have on him, the more damage he will take. So that becomes very important. So let's do this. Push up. Arbiter still can't do a damn thing. But, I don't think we have to burn here. Let's put Dizzy debuffs on him now. Weaken him up. Hopefully we land all 3. We do. Now his damage is much more manageable. And you take a little bit of damage every turn. So we're going to do this. We're going to try and push him back. We succeed. We'll push up our team again. Attack him again. And Archie does work, so let's drop an Archie on him right now. Get some big damage out. 55,000. Alright, so one more Archie should do it. Alright, he debuffs me. We need to gather up a few more souls here. We need one more turn to survive. But we have unhealable, so this is bad news. Come on, Dizzy, survive. Ah, Dizzy died. So I'm actually kind of hosed here. I need to get debuffs on him. Let's see if Archie still works. Of course, the one I'm recording, I struggle when I one-shotted this the first time. So let's see if Archie can kill him here, because Arbiter should be able to Archie after I do this push. Okay, Archie comes out. See how much damage he takes from this. 54,000 still, and Dingo is dead. So Archie works regardless of debuffs, apparently. And there we go. Well, that's floor 103. Much sloppier run than the first time I did it, but it worked. So that's how you beat the first 3 floors of Abyss. I gotta say, all of these are pretty damn hard. I take back what I said. This floor is pretty hard. It's all RNG, because if Blaze Dingo stuns your Tamarin, it's gonna get nasty real quick. Unless you bring immunity somehow or something. But anyways, those are the first 3 floors. I hope this guide helped you out. Definitely much harder than the first 100 floors. They're not screwing around anymore. And best of luck to you guys, man. You'll need it. Till next time, boys. Peace out.